So I've been 30 for about a month now, and honestly, things aren't all that different. I mean, I think it really did hit me in November. Ooh, I guess the womb months do count. And you know what? I think there have been a few changes that have happened since then. I think one of the biggest changes is that I've started being a little bit more reflective and calm. So in your 20s, you sometimes might feel like you need to prove yourself and keep going and push yourself and really be the best at everything. And then once you're 30, you know a little bit more. Things are a little bit easier in certain ways. So, for example, I work with customers, I also have started volunteering, and in each experience, I really try to give myself some space from the person who I'm dealing with. It's good to care, but at the end of the day, you sign off for your job and you go and you live your own life. Just going and doing and then leaving has been very useful. It's also given me some time to reflect. So it's, sometimes when the situation is heated, it's nice to step back, let it breathe, and move on. The other thing that you have to remember is you signed up for a job that most likely has an end time. So, a shift is over, or you're done volunteering at a certain time, or, you're done seeing patients at a certain point in time. Now, again, you might be called to do more hours and you might be called in to see someone else, but at the end of the day, the experiment is over, the patient goes home, and the store closes. And so it's nice to remember that. And when things do get crazy and things do get heated, just remember it's going to be over. Take a breather, get through it. Along those lines, I think the second biggest thing that I've started to notice myself doing is forgiving and then also moving on and getting over things a lot quicker. So think back to the last time you promised yourself you wouldn't have an extra drink, or you would go out and work out, or you wouldn't eat that junk food. Well, you may have ignored yourself and you may have gained weight, you may have had an extra drink, and it's definitely put a stress on your body, but you probably forgave yourself pretty quickly. In that vein, you really do learn to take a step back, and some situations may seem heated, but it's okay to give someone a little bit of credit and also forget the situation if it really doesn't matter. Unlike your body, it'll never forget, or an Android phone if you've ever dropped one. Now, it's not all great. I think the biggest change that I've seen also with myself is getting cramps and also needing to stretch. So I think one of the things that has been really helpful in that regard is to make sure that you stretch at least once a day. So make sure you stretch your calves. I know that I've definitely been getting Charlie's horses. I don't know if that's plural, but I've been getting them. And also your back and also the neck here. So sometimes when you wake up, you might feel like there's a little bit of a strain here. And at first it kind of freaked me out, but there are certain stretches that you can do that will help with that. So stretch before going to bed, or if you have like a second during work or something, just kind of stretch your calves, stretch your arms. It's well worth it. The other thing that I'm not really happy about is the weight gain. So I was pretty good on weight throughout my 20s, and then last November, since then, I've definitely put on about 20 pounds. Now, thankfully, I started working out and I was able to lose those 10, mostly because I wanted to keep that under control because, again, things are only going to go downhill. There are things that you can do that will help with that. So the first is opting for healthier options. So I started eating a lot more home-cooked meals. I started eating berries and vegetables instead of snacks like chips. The other thing is lowering your alcohol intake. So alcohol definitely has a lot of calories. I don't like to drink a lot, but I do like to enjoy a drink every now and then. And the other thing is making sure that you work out, but work out in a smart way. So what that means is don't just show up to a gym and walk on a treadmill while texting someone. Definitely go and count those calories as best as you can. I know that treadmills can do that for you, and that has been very useful. And also, if you feel like you're getting more of a gut, then doing things like crunches has been very helpful. The other thing that I found that's been kind of nice is buying fruit that's frozen and blending that in with sparkling drinks. So I know that sounds a little bit weird, but it has been useful. And the way that it comes out is kind of this, it's almost like a pasty, it's almost like a mush. And what I like about that is that there's no added sugars. Now, again, fruits definitely have a lot of sugar, so be careful with that. But it's definitely a nice lighter snack that I found for me. It's more filling than chips, which I feel like I can just eat the whole bag. And you get to avoid things like sugary juices. Now, one of the biggest things that I've seen in myself is really noticing life. And you know, what's really great is that every day is an opportunity. I feel like that's such a cliche, but the only thing that life really expects of you is to show up and have a drink. And in my 20s, I definitely was a workaholic, and I still am to a certain degree. I've been able to stop myself from overdoing it as much as I have been, and really taking in the time to do things like hang out with my friends or find new hobbies like gardening. And I think the other thing is you really start to value a day off. So like I mentioned, in your 20s, you're still trying to prove yourself, and in your 30s, from what it seems like, you're okay. You're okay in a certain sense, and taking a day off is well worth it. Now, this is also the time when things are going to start to go downhill, like I mentioned, with weight gain, with having to do stretches. So you really do need to get your act together and start taking care of yourself. Now is the time if you haven't already gotten into a routine. Don't give up on life. If you let yourself go, if you give up on life, life's gonna give up on you, and it's gonna suck. So embrace the change, and if you're turning 30 or if you've been 30, good luck and have a great decade.